hopefully, you can keep on joining us, and next year you'll be a part of that. It's
Thank
an
you.
amazing experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Likewise, likewise, we're looking forward to your work and your continued you know appearance in this community, in this family. And Leslie, that's wonderful news. I haven't been checking because I've been working on formatting the book for paperback. Working between Word and Scrivener, and I can make heads of tails or certain things, but that's how it is with formatting. I'm also working on my book. I'm working on the editing with my compadre. So yeah, it's been a little hectic. I haven't checked anything, and I should. I probably should. But I already the request for people to be associated to the book. I already accepted all of those. So everybody should have their book on their author central page.
That's great. And once we get that, I don't remember who it was. Somebody is waiting anxiously to buy a paperback. Who told me they wanted a paperback of the book?
Debbie.
Debbie, okay. Okay, well, Nick is working on it. And Nick, if you get stuck, I can ask Vicki. I thought she had quit talking to me. Vicky's my other sister. But as it turned out, she just had turned off her phone for about 3 days. So she's talking to me. If we need to ask her anything, we can. So anyway, because it will be nice to have it in paperback too, even without the book fair. Maybe this is the kind of book that people are going to want physical copies of. And we do make more when people buy off royalties, off the paperbacks than off the ebook, of course.
One of my
Yeah.
cousins also asked me for the paperback already.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to work a little more harder on that. But it should
No,
be
we're
done
not pushing you.
soon.
We're not pushing you, Nick.
Oh, no, I know, I appreciate it, but I do have to push myself. I do have to push myself with this because if not, I'll never get it done. So I really need to get on top of this. But no, I mean, it's equally parts frustrating and fun to do formatting. So, so it should be done soon. It should be done soon.
Okay, thank you. And just if you'll let us know when it is, um, we can share that. We can put out that it's now available in paperback as soon as it is. And hopefully we'll have some sales in paperback too, since 2 or 3 people. Besides Debbie, though, there is somebody, of course, now that I know it's you, I'm going to want to go back to calling you Miss Leah. So, because we use first name.
Call her Debbie.
Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought. I just think it's going to be good to have it out in paperback when we do. And I know I was just going to tell Nick that this is good practice for your book. So, oh, Elsa, good. I was going to announce it, but go ahead. I'll let you read it.
I'm writing it down.
Okay. Raj sent us a haiku, so.
I should have double checked. There you go. Oh, I forgot
Yep.
to skip a space. You want to read it, Nick?
Early winter days, gray skies reflect the mood, long for a nap.
He always hits
Yeah.
it right on the nose.
He does. He does.
Yep.
We were traveling from Austin. My husband and I yesterday. We went to spend two days with my sons, and we had our Thanksgiving there. And on the way back, the skies were so beautiful. It was raining a little bit in Austin, but it was pretty dry the rest of the way. But the skies were so cloudy. That's perfect. It fits. It's the beginning of
Mhm.
winter. It's a transition between the seasons. It's just, yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, the
Yeah.
hill country, beautiful. The
It
sceneries there are
is.
beautiful. Yes.
It really
Yeah,
is.
my younger brother, he lives in San Antonio, and he couldn't make it, unfortunately, this year over here. But he sent me pictures of how it is right over there right now, because he lives near wooded areas. He's always liked to live near foresty areas,
Oh,
and it
wow.
looks beautiful. It looks like he's in a cabin in the middle of a rainforest. It looks really nice.
Yes.
I'd love to live in
Yeah,
an
right
area over
now.
there, around there. That would be nice. Somewhere outside of
Yeah.
San Antonio. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love that that area that has a little more forest. The
Yeah.
area outside of downtown.
Is New Braunfels expensive?
I don't know. I don't know about it. I've only been there on like that street green. I've
Yeah.
only been there to like the restaurant and just around. But I wouldn't know.
Uh,
I've only been there once.
I went to a
It's
wedding
nice.
once.
I have a
It's
cousin
beautiful.
who lives there, but
It is.
I wouldn't know if it's expensive because they're kind of, doing well for themselves. They have this huge ranch,
Okay.
Nice.
but yeah, I don't know about average. I
Yeah.
mean, we never stopped. We always just drive through.
I think that's the standard over there. Like it's just a bunch of people who are doing well, who's like want to live in a suburban area outside the city, who can buy the huge plots of land. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine was telling me that he's a realtor, but like like for big like plots of land and
Yes.
whatnot. So he made a deal with a producer slash writer for Family Guy. He sold them a plot of like apartments over there in New Braunfels.
Or the TV show,
Wait,
Family Guy.
the TV show Family Guy? Yeah, he made a deal with a producer and writer to for an apartment complex. He sold them
Wow.
the apartment complex. So it's yeah, the people who own land there are well-to-do people. So I would say, I mean, I wouldn't be able to say because I haven't looked into it, but I guess yeah, it is pretty expensive. It is
Okay.
an area for really
Never
well-to-do
mind.
people.
Right.
But
They have
it's
what they
really
have
pretty.
they have arranged neighbors. Their neighbors
Yeah,
are arranged, if you know what I mean.
Mm. It's it looks so pretty. It looks really pretty. I mean, she's
it's
posted
beautiful.
pictures of her ranch and whatever, and looks really nice.
Yeah, it must be. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Have you go ahead, Andrea?
there's an area where my son he wants us to move to Bastrop
Oh yeah.
because
That's
we
going
drive
toward
by
College
there on the way,
Station.
yeah, on the way to College Station. And right outside
Mhm.
Bastrop, there's a stretch
Gorgeous.
of
Gorgeous.
highway where the trees are so tall, it feels like you don't feel like you're in Texas. That's like
Yeah.
our favorite little stretch of land. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so beautiful. If I could buy a house out here, one of these tracts of land, I would want to move there. But that land has become very expensive because I don't know if this is true or just a rumor, but Tesla moving to Texas.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, I think
And
I read that.
I think they are moving, and it's going to be somewhere between Austin and Bastrop. So all that area right there, the prices have like
Skyrocket.
skyrocketed
Ooh.
because everyone's expecting once they're there, they're gonna have to build more homes, build more apartments, and all of that. Whoever owns that land is gonna strike it rich.
make a fortune.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean I know
yeah,
that
it's true.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. I don't know if it was Tesla or SpaceX. I don't know which one of the two, but Elon Musk is moving business over here to Texas. But
Oh,
sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah.
no. I didn't know about SpaceX. I knew about Tesla because my son is constantly, about Tesla stock, and I think my husband might have some. I don't know, but not enough for like we can retire, of course. But
Wait a while, a few
But he's
days.
always talking about, they're always talking about Tesla. I know that there was a rumor, which I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, that they wanted to move Disneyland to Texas.
Wow.
I
That would be
Have
heard
you heard
about
that
that.
one? That they want to leave, supposedly want to leave California. Like all these corporations and stuff, they want to leave California.
California's got an incredibly, insanely high tax rate.
And it's probably only going to get worse.
Yes.
But they want to, the first place they look at is Texas. Because
Wow.
we have so much land, and also because, it's favorable to their.
Natalie had to leave us because she wasn't feeling well.
Okay,
Oh,
I hope she feels
Well,
better.
feels better.
Thank you.
So another thing is that Texas does a lot of tax breaks for companies,
Mhm.
whereas California is always taxing, always finding new ways to like tax them and put more restrictions and making it like less favorable to run a business there. A lot of people are getting out of California because of the same thing. They became, and this is not, I'm not trying to pull the conversation into politics, but because they became a little too socialist, a lot of people are suffering economically. And then with the pandemic and like less people going out and whatnot, people are just not finding it affordable to live in California anymore.
It's very expensive, right? They say to
Their
live in
Very
California.
expensive.
their taxes are very high because this is something that I just found out, and I thought they were kidding, but apparently they will give you money so you don't have to work if you are a certain percentage, like obese. So the state
Yeah.
will take care of you, and I'm like, they goes, no, but you have to be over a certain amount of weight. I said, but who would want to get that big? And it goes, well, if you don't have to work and the state is going to send you money, a lot of people say, I'm just gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
Oh.
crazy.
Oh, what's the rationale
Yeah,
there? Why are they keeping obese people at home? I don't get it. What's the rationale there?
Because California is a state that helps a lot of people socially. Well, can you hear us, Debbie?
Debbie,
I think
we lost her. Or she lost connection.
It does,
I
maybe.
think we lost it.
Well,
But yeah, it's just
I
I
couldn't
believe
believe
it.
that.
I
I'm like,
believe it. I believe it. Like in California is the state where people say no, I cannot do this because this and this that I have is a condition, and people are like, oh, pobrecito, let's help them. But I mean, obesity, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but obesity is on the people who let it go to that point. I mean, I know that the pandemic has not made me a healthy person, and that's on me, not on everybody else. I shouldn't expect the government to take care of me because I'm not taking care of myself. But in California, people think differently, and they might have good intentions, but it's like you said, like maybe for people who are already obese, but it's like you said, that'll just incentivize people to get obese,
mm-hmm.
so they don't have to work.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't know. It's like if you get to the point of like huge obesity, like the 600-pound life guys, like who would want, like even if you don't get to work, like would you trade off working for a life like that? I don't think many people would.
No, and I mean, even if they give you money
No,
to live, you're not going to have the same amount of money
Hey,
as if you
Debbie.
actually work.
Yeah.
So
But you know what it is, and as Nick said, I won't get political either because it is California is called the left coast for a reason. It's where welfare is used to supplement everything, every aspect of life. And when people are used to it's like if you turn an animal out that's always lived in a home and had everything given to it, it's not going to survive in the wild. it's going to get run over, it's going to die of hunger, whatever. People are brought up from cradle to death in California on the welfare system. Their taxes are horrendous and they aren't enough. Even so, cities in California are going broke. And it's because people who have money, who are the ones who most espouse the welfare state, they're leaving California. They're living in France like Clooney and, all over the world, but they're deserting California because they don't want to pay the taxes either. And so this thing of giving, very famously, Nancy Pelosi said about 2 years ago, she said, people shouldn't have to work for a job they hate just to make money. If you want to write poetry, stay at home. Write poetry. The government can afford to help you. Well, the government can't afford it. Yes, I'd love to stay home. That was when I was still teaching, and I don't need to tell my teachers how hard teaching is. I mean, the idea that, according to her, staying home to write poetry was legitimate was just shocking to me. But, I feel sorry for people who live in California from birth to death without ever knowing the satisfaction of working for themselves or finding a doctor they like, because the medicine there, you take the doctors on your plan. And I mean, it's sad that we're sort of killing the independence and the ability of people to get out there. And if they want to stay home and write poetry, then maybe they work a few years, save a little bit of money. Then they stay home and write poetry and are able to sell because they have experiences other than being given everything, handed everything. But anyway, that's just my take. And I lived in California for a couple of years when I was younger, and we had a boat next to Roy Rogers. Some of you wouldn't even know who he is because you guys are young. But it's just, I remember the water that was so beautiful, and I almost thought someday I'd go back.
Leslie, you sound really far away. Or is it just me?
No.
Leslie,
There's
the
echoes,
sound,
right?
your audio.
Echo.
I'm sorry, is this better?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, I was leaning back in my chair, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I've only visited California once. 1992, I went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonah.
and,
Hi, how are you, Joanna?
Hi, I'm good.
good to see you.
You too.
And the only thing I remember about California, other than everything was very expensive when you went out to eat, was their roads were terrible. They're horrible. Their highways were all just potholes. You're driving and you're like jumping, it was, I'm like, as a state, we put a lot of money into our roads.
Yeah. Our roads, mainly because our roads are really overused with the transportation industry, and we just pretty much value them a little bit more than other states. But I have never been there, but I've heard horror stories about their highways. But I cannot confirm because I haven't been there. So
Yeah. I mean, I do
nowadays,
recall their roads were in very bad repair. We went to Pennsylvania. We've driven through Pennsylvania, and the roads were fine, not the best, but they don't have any signs of where you're supposed to exit, like telling you where you're going. It's just a number. So you have to know which one to get off. You know how ours say the name of this town or the name of the attraction, like, Sea World next, right? They don't have that. So we were looking for a specific place in Pennsylvania. We ended up in New Jersey because we missed our turn. We didn't know how to get back.
wow.
We were driving, and all of a sudden we see road repair, and it has state of New Jersey road department. We're like, why does it say that? Where are we? We didn't know. And this was back in the days before GPS. So there I am with my paper map, and I'm like, I think we took a wrong turn. And it was interesting because it doesn't have any signs. You just have to know where to go. It's like, okay, get off here, get off there, and let's hope for the best. So we ended up at some point, and they don't have the turn arounds we do, like where you get off, you turn around, you get back on. So we had to keep driving, I don't know where, and then make a couple of turns and then get back on the highway. And that's when we said, like, no, Texas is the best. It's hard to get lost. I mean, you get off, you get back on, and you know, it's all there. And over there, we got lost in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, wherever we got, in both, I guess. Arkansas was pretty interesting too, because we ran over something on the road and we wanted to check it out. So there was an exit and it said to a gas station, but we couldn't see it. It's just a bunch of forest. And it was nighttime. So then we exit and the exit just keeps on going. I don't know where it took off. We're like, are we sure we're in the right place? And we thought we were going to see Bigfoot, or, I mean, because it was that scary. And finally, way off in the distance, we see the gas station. They are not next to the road. They were like far. And so, and then to get back, you drive through all that scary forest. Finally, we get back on the highway, like, just get out of here. Just get out of here.
So you didn't get to see what you all hit?
No, but a piece of my husband's car, one of those plastic things in the front, it came off as it was hitting the ground. So we couldn't do, I mean, there was nothing to do. It was late at night. So he just like ripped it off.
Yeah.
And we just kept on driving. He kept the piece. It was like a panel that covers the bottom. Mm-hmm. So when we finally got to a town during the day, they screwed it back in. But it was interesting. But I guess it's interesting. I don't know how many of you have taken like those long drives across the country. You get to really experience, you think everything is like this, and it is not.
Oh, no, not at all.
I drove to California to drop off my daughter for college one year, and it was an interesting drive, to say the least. But yes, it was very, the culture is very different. It was very shocking, like just the way California just, I don't know, it was just very cultured, like, in a way too. Like we ended up at the beach, and it was just the strangest thing. Everybody was dancing with neon lights, and it was just, it's interesting. It's interesting what the cultures that you see, the people, and it's just eye-opening. And I drove to Florida because my daughter, my middle one was in a basketball travel team, and we drove to Florida. So we did take some of those trips out there. So very interesting. And I did get to go to Bastrop as well to witness those long trees. And so
beautiful.
I've traveled because of my daughters, because of college, and my middle one played in Arizona, so I had to drive to Arizona to drop her off for college and then pick her back up. So I did a lot of traveling, not stay, just driving through, just for the drop-offs and the pickups for college. But yes, you do get to experience a lot of interesting things, and there's a lot out there beyond Laredo, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. The farthest I've been is New Mexico. Went with my family for vacation to Ruidoso. Oh. And when we left Texas, and we were in New Mexico, and New Mexico was like, well, this is pretty much the same thing. This is pretty much an extension of Texas. We stopped at Roswell. We went to see the whole alien attraction thing, which is very minimal. And then we kept going, and about 2 or an hour and a half into into that road that leads from Roswell to Ruidoso, like the scenery suddenly changes. Like everything's just brown and gray, and then there's just green and more colors and white, and it was just so inspiring. We went to this hotel that was it had like a cabin type of setting. Like they look like cabins, each of the rooms. And I took my laptop. I was writing my first book at the time, and it would take me like about 2-3 days to finish a chapter. I finished 3 chapters in 3 days, like a day each. I was so inspired, and that's the moment I said, when my career as a writer kicks off, not if, when. I'm gonna get either a
That's
cabin in New
positive
Mexico.
thinking. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm gonna get a cabin in New Mexico or Montana or a place like that, or maybe near
Oh,
Pullman,
awesome.
Washington, because I just found out that my biggest inspiration to write is like a forest, being in the middle of a forest.
Wow.
Oh,
I loved it.
It's the ambience. It picks up the senses and it just like stimulates the senses. And there's nothing like the ambience. Like I love gardening. So outside I have like I'm always like growing flowers and I just like they bring me peace and just tranquility and I'm able to focus on not the reality of the pandemic, but just like deeper thoughts and relaxation and the beauty of nature. So yeah, absolutely. It's the optimal place to write for anyone, I believe.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. It's just a beautiful. It's a beautiful setting. Just being surrounded by like pine trees in the middle of like a warm cabin with like snow falling outside. It's just beautiful.
When you get your cabin, Nick, you invite us. De
Yeah.
acuerdo
Oh,
con
of course.
nosotros.
Oh, we can have a,
Of course.
We'll go
writer's
see you.
workshop.
Oh yeah.
The writer's workshop.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. We can all write one of our anthologies there.
That reminds me of that. There's a Johnny Depp movie like that where he goes. I think it's called Secret Window. He goes and stays in a cabin so he can write, but then there's like all this creepy stuff going on
Oh yeah. I
around.
think I remember it.
I
Scary.
haven't seen that one. Is it a
Uh,
Tim
Yeah.
Burton one or not?
I
I'm
don't
not
think so.
sure. I don't
No?
think so. No, but it's good.
What
I
about
think there's
the what's
also
the Stranger Than Fiction? I think when the guy finds out he's a main character to somebody else's story.
Yeah, I think that one's called Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
that was really good.
Let me write those two down. They sound good. My husband's
I
always
think
asking me what movies. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Stranger Than Fiction? And what was the
Mhm.
other one? The
The
Window?
Secret Window. The
Secret Window.
Secret Window.
No, and then who knows? What if we're at your cabin during a writer's workshop and we get like snowed in or something? We write the next Frankenstein and the next like those people did.
Oh, we got Richard Donner. Just
And Dracula, and they all came up with those stories when they were snowbound.
Oh, there's well, I don't know if you guys like the author Chuck Palahniuk, the guy
I've
who
heard of
wrote Fight Club.
Mhm.
Well, he wrote a book called Haunted, and it's like that premise is that there's like a big castle, and so he invites different writers to come,
Ah,
and
Whoa.
and then so they're all there and they're all trying to like write good stories, but then what happens is they end up getting like trapped inside and locked there, and they don't have any food or anything, and so they start telling like these crazy stories, and it's really good. It's full of like a bunch, it's kind of like an anthology. There's a whole bunch of little short stories in there,
that sounds
and
cool.
yeah, it gets really good.
Haunted, you said, right?
Yeah, it's
It
called
sounds
Haunted.
good.
There's a short story by Stephen King, and it's nothing kind of like about a guy who gets trapped in an island without anything. There's nothing on the island, no water. I think there's only water. There's no food or anything. So he's a doctor, so he starts like eating himself like piece by piece.
Yeah,
It's I forgot the name of it. Like he starts with the toes, and then he just moves up little by little.
that's
It's crazy.
crazy.
It's
I've never heard
not
of it.
Dumaki. It's a Dumaki, right?
Uh,
No, that's not it.
no,
That's a
it's.
different story.
I'll look it up. I have it on the tip of my tongue, but I'll put it on the
There's
chat.
also Stephen King's story where I think the wife is the writer and she dies in a cabin that she was told to, which was like a a summer vacation that she inherited, I think. And they made like I forgot if it was like a Netflix short short series adaptation, like a two-part series with Pierce Brosnan. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But it
I
had
do
like a
not.
similar premise. There was a cabin involved with like like a foresty area and a lake and all that and all those tropes. But the place where they shot it was beautiful, or like all of those places, right? It was just You know, like instead of being scary for me, it was like inspiring me to like write. I just see those places, even in TV, and I don't know, I'm just in a trance or something.
I think some
But yeah,
settings are just conducive, right?
Yeah.
They're conducive to being creative or coming up with different types of or genres of writing.
mm-hmm.
And I find it interesting. In my case, I don't know about anybody else, where being out in nature during the day inspires you in some way, and then when it's dark, it's very different, and it's kind of, I don't know, scary. I'm not scared. Yeah, I get scared. I feel a different,
Energy.
yes. And I don't know. I recall when we were kids going to Gardner State Park, and during the day, beautiful. You're running around. There's trees. There's hills, and then at night it gets so dark. And we used to rent those cabins that have screens, and so but you can see nothing. I mean, it's just black. And then you start hearing noises and the leaves, and you start to imagine all sorts of stuff. But during the day it was beautiful, and at night it just gave you that little vibe that was scary.
Mystery or the unknown.
It's that primal feeling, nature, anything can happen. And it reminds me of like the Scarlet Letter, where the forest was the whole all those evil
I
impulses.
tried. He wouldn't believe.
But
Or the
stuff like
village,
that,
or like the woods, like the forest, just
And the water,
in the water, all that stuff.
rushing all night.
I guess it's part of our nature also, that darker side. And when that puts us in contact with that darker side, we get a little bit afraid.
Yeah, it's being
But-
vulnerable.
Yes, but that also makes for good stories too. I mean,
Exactly.
bring that out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
And all the stuff that has happened in forests around the world. I mean, it's not only a good setting for the paranormal because of that whole like man versus nature, alone in the dark kind of thing. But I mean, if you're a believer in for the paranormal and in, spiritual things like I am, there have been a lot of like paranormal occurrences in big wooded areas. And I think it's inspiring of those stories because that's where a lot of things happen. I mean, it's like a friend once told me, if you were like a monster or like a cryptid, where would you hunt? Where would you live? Would you live where like, somebody can send their army and you're in a city and they can just destroy you? Or would you wise up and live in the woods where almost there's no human contact? So if you believe in any of that stuff, then there's something to it. There's some credence to it, to the fact that it's just plain and simply a place where humans don't habitate, so things that we might not see happen more. Things that we don't know might happen in those places.
yeah, because we can't control that the way we control these artificial environments. Nature
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
that. So I
That's
guess
probably part of the intrigue that we don't know, and what we don't know arouses all of our curiosity, our imagination. It brings back things we've read, things we've experienced, or maybe just dreamt about. I don't know.
oh,
Nick, did you
Emma
know that
de
Laredo
Villiers.
has a group of
Baby.
paranormal society?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, for years, the Laredo Paranormal Society. Yeah, I
I
think
own one of those.
one of their members is a writer, and he has some of his copies in Organic Man.
Oh,
Oh, I just won one. It's Chris James, right? That's his name.
Yeah, Chris
Oh, the
James.
guy with
Yeah.
the huge mustache, right? I think.
I don't know.
cool.
The
I don't
Phoenix
know
Institute
specifically.
had like a giveaway, and I won one of his books, and the cover is like super creepy, and it's supposed to be collected stories from Laredo, like
I own
paranormal.
one. I bought
Tell
one
us
of the.
about it, Joanna, once you start reading. Tell us if it's like worth us going to buy a copy or something.
Yes, I'll post a review.
Okay.
perfect. Chris
Nice.
James, yeah.
There's a short story that
I
I
own one of the
like.
books.
Oh, you have one of the books.
You have
Nice.
it?
One.
Oh,
got it
Yeah, I
that's
saw that
creepy.
one. I
That
saw that
is-
one yesterday. There's a short story. I forgot what it's called. I don't know if it's called The Woods or The Cabin. It's not the movie The Cabin in the Woods, right? But it's
I was
called
about to say that.
I was like,
It's, no, but it's the story about a hunter who he loses his trail, so he gets lost in a forest. So it gets dark, and he doesn't know what to do because he's out there and exposed to the elements, and he sees a cabin. And he decides that, like, I mean, if there's people in there, well, I'm going to ask them for shelter. If there's not and they show up, I'm just going to explain to them that I got lost, that I didn't take anything. I just used it to sleep, and I'll be on my way. So he goes inside the cabin, and it's really dark. There's no light sources or anything. And he finds a bed and he goes to sleep. But as he's laying down, he sees that the room that he's in, there's these portraits of just
I
people
know
with,
this one.
you know this one?
Yeah.
It's an amazing story. So there's portraits of people with angry faces, like really scary looking angry faces, just looking into the middle of the room, like, you know, like of the portraits are all like, you know, arranged in a way that, like, you know, they're all like looking into the middle. So he's like freaked out about it, but whatever, they're portraits. He goes to sleep. When he wakes up, he looks around the room and he just darts out of the woods and he runs because he realizes that they were not portraits, they were windows.
oh my.
Yeah.
Wow. That's worse than Hansel and Gretel.
There were real people watching him?
Huh?
There
Yeah,
were
it was
real
pretty
people?
much
Yeah.
either, I mean, it leaves it to your imagination as one of those open-ended stories. It could have been like spirits. It could have been like people just looking at him. Like, it just leaves it to your imagination, and it's better to read it than the way that I explained it. It's there's a better creepy factor, but it pretty much leaves it to your imagination. Either he was almost killed, or it was just spirits of people who died in the forest, demons. Like, you let your imagination decide what's the creepy factor there.
I think that was a
That's a really
creepy
good
pasta,
story.
right? That's what they call
Yeah.
them. That used to be.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a creepy factor pretty much.
Yeah, like I like those back in the day, like a few years ago. Like on this like website, people would make like creepy short stories, and it was like a really like a small thing. They were really good, and it blew up out of a sudden. And now you have like these really bad stories. That's where the Slender Man came out, and all these new monsters because of those, like that little website where they will make creepy stories for each other. And that's one of them.
Yeah.
With I think it was called the paintings, the portraits.
Portrait?
Yeah, the portrait, right, or something like that. It wasn't even the cabin or the woods. Like, it was a crazy the portrait,
It's just
something like that.
portraits. I think I have the story. I collected them like a while back, not time ago, and I still have them. So if I find them, I can send them to you guys if you like.
So those are short stories, Enrique?
Yeah, like little, like sometimes like a two paragraphs.
Yeah. I read them. I read the like Reddit. Well, I used to follow the Reddit No Sleep.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, they took the stories from that website. And put them on that Reddit subreddit.
Oh, I read this really good one, and it was like 8 parts to it. And it was like that was like the scariest story I've ever read. I was like legitimately frightened. I was like scared of like dark areas in the room and stuff. Like I was so scared from reading it. It was about a guy goes into a cabin, of course, right? And he's staying on the top of like a mountain and it's all snowy. And then there's like this creature. It's some kind of like Native American creature, like in Native American folklore, like I can't remember what it's called, like, but anyways, it keeps knocking outside of his cabin, like it wants to be let in. And I think he ends up leaving a window open one time, and so it ends up getting in, and it's like just this. It was super frightening. I was so scared when I read it, but yeah, I read it on Reddit, but it was one of those stories that they posted in parts.
Yeah, they call them creepy pastas because on that website there was something called copy pasta when they would just make a comment and post it all over the place.
Yes.
So they call them creepy pastas because they would just collect and just post them everywhere too.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
copy-
the Navy
copy
SEAL
paste.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all started with stories, like random stories, right? And they were called copy pastas because of copy and paste. And then when people started doing the horror genre, in that style, they changed the name to creepypasta.
Mhm.
And there's really good ones like Slenderman. I love the premise behind it because Slenderman is actually based on sightings that a lot of people have had of like just tall, skinny, like humanoid beings with no faces, no physical features. A friend of mine told me that his uncle saw something like that before, like the Slenderman mythos became popularized.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been sightings of like faceless entities
Yes,
in the world.
Oh,
my cousin saw one also. She lives on a reservation in North Dakota, and she says that there's all kinds of happenings and sightings there that they have, and a lot of different creatures that I'd never heard of before.
Oh, les falta eso, ¿verdad? Tonay.
that's too scary.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
got
pretty
scared
sure.
with the
Pero que
movie
eso se le
The
quedará.
Mothman.
Las
Yeah, have you heard about The Mothman?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
The
Mothman
Mothman, yeah.
prophecy.
Mhm.
I want to see that one.
It scared me. And then I saw it during the day because I will not see these scary ones at night. And then I started reading up on it, the different sightings, and I think that just made me more scared. So I wouldn't even
Yeah.
watch the show Supernatural because I started to watch it because my daughter loves it. And so I started watching it a few years ago on Netflix, and I got through a few episodes, but they just kept getting scarier. And I do
Really,
they just kept
You're
getting
you
not
scarier.
find it
scared at
scary?
all.
And I do recall there was
I,
one they were dealing with some Native American like spirits or creatures or something, and they had to battle them in a certain way, and it got to be too much for me. So like I'm not gonna watch Supernatural anymore. I'm just gonna watch something
it,
else.
it,
That's
it
all I
doesn't,
watch.
So,
it's not that scary after a while because it just becomes a huge conflict between heaven and hell. So it's just pretty much
Good
angels and
versus
demons, but they're
evil.
all just characters. And they just put the last episodes on Netflix. The
Netflix.
show ended, and I just saw them, and it ends in like a bittersweet note. It's like a
I think
really
it was a
bittersweet
really
ending.
sweet
I
note,
really like
actually.
it.
Oh,
Huh?
I think it was a really sweet ending, like a really, really nice, like the happiest ending like,
Yeah,
ever,
yeah, yeah.
basically.
It was bittersweet. Like it was beautiful. I really liked the way it ended.
Why
I
couldn't
really
Game of
liked it.
Thrones have had a good ending?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Oh
the
yeah.
thing is, Game of Thrones does have a good ending, but we have to wait for the writer to release it.
So we're never gonna see it, basically.
Thank you,
Pretty
Enrique.
much.
You just
oh,
posted
Enrique.
one of the short stories.
That's the one with the portrait right now. The one Nick
Oh,
told us,
Yes,
Oh,
I'm trying
Oh,
to
yeah,
read
that's awesome.
it.
and
You copy pasted it.
yeah, basically.
You creepy pasted it.
I've never read it.
Yeah, like I have a huge folder. Like I think it was like 10 years ago when those were like really huge, like creepypastas. So I saved a lot of them, like
That's
before.
that's
So
scary. That's creepy.
and I can send you guys a few if you like. There's about everything, like video game, like cursed video games, cursed TV shows, lost episodes of TV shows. They really went through a lot of like different things on the.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I never even finished Supernatural, so
I don't
It's
think
a
the Anna writing horror anytime soon.
Like one of my goals is to do like a story on each like genre there is. So I need to get to horror at one point. And I guess thanks to you guys, I can actually do like short stories now instead of like novellas or full length books. So that's gonna be a huge help when I get into that.
Well, good. I'm
Oh,
not,
wow.
we don't have to go, but it is past 4 if anybody needs to, and I just wanted to touch because I know Nick came in after and Joanna. We're meeting, if it's okay with everybody, on the 12th of December. We don't have a book fair this year, a book festival, but we do need to make plans for the new year. Hopefully, we'll have the not hardback, but the paperback out by then, because I know we've had some interest, because the person,
we're almost done.
somebody else had commented on, it was in response to you. And they said, I'm old school, but I don't believe that it was anybody who's here. So I think it's somebody else who wants a hard copy, a print book. So that's at least 2 or 3 people who said that they would like one.
My
And
cousin was one of them on Facebook.
okay, that's probably
Sandra. Mhm.
probably that's who I'm thinking of. But so we'll see how that's going, and we can make plans. Last year, before we broke up for the year, we planned our number of words for the next year and that sort of thing. So I hope that everybody will be able to come back.
Pero
And
dile tú porque yo no te entiendo.
Yeah, I'm gonna post one more. This is like I think one of the first ones that I ever read when I found out about the whole genre, and like I couldn't sleep like when I first saw it. Like actually, I'll be honest, I wasn't used to this type of like stuff, and like I couldn't sleep. I'm gonna get
Oh my God, yeah, I read this one. I
right,
read this one.
right. That one's good.
Yeah. There's also besides No Sleep on Reddit. There's also one called Short Scary Stories, and there was a guy who wrote their really good plot twists. Like the stories were not always scary, but they had really good plot twists.
Was it called Short Scary Stories or Scary Short Stories?
Short Scary Stories.
Okay.
The rule is that you have to write a story in 500 words or less. It's like No Sleep, but like redacted.
Oh yeah.
And there's this one story called Next Time You'll Know Better by that guy. He is, or her, but their internet handle was I Post at Midnight. And they wrote really amazing stories. And the best one was, it's called Next Time You'll Know Better. You can find it on YouTube, narrated by some people. It's really good, that story.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, ven, pregúntales tú, Christine, because I don't know what you want.
Debbie, we don't always share scary stories. It just came up this time because of the cabins, and they just came up.
I'm
But
beginning to
we
wonder.
do different things on different occasions.
Yes.
My sister lives.
I'm a
It's me.
scary cat.
Ah,
My,
okay.
no me miran, yo creo que está apagado aquí.
¿Qué pasa, Marta? No, you're there. We hear
You're
you.
there, Martha.
Sí. Okay. No, I was remembering that one of my sister lives in Houston, in Magnolia.
Uh-huh.
And right behind her house, the houses there are all built in the middle of pine trees. They have to clear space
Okay.
to the house in. And all around, it's surrounded by huge pine trees. And at night, it's horrible. It's just very, very scary for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just reminds me of those TV stories where the people attack the campers or something like that. It's very scary, but it's a beautiful place because of the trees and pine cones all over on the floor, on the ground.
I've been to in that area, around the Houston area. I don't remember exactly cómo se llama el pueblito. They do the Renaissance Festival every year.
Oh yes, I've been there. I've been there.
I love it. It what you're describing sounds like those grounds at that place. Muy bonito. All pine trees and
That's close to Austin.
okay. Which one?
Sherwood Forest.
No,
The
not the
Sherwood Forest,
the
no,
one
that
you're
one.
talking about?
No, I'm not talking about that one. No, I'm
Oh,
talking
no,
about my sister lives there in Magnolia. And the house where she lives in was built, but they had to clear a space in the middle of the woods. So
Okay.
and the houses are all like that, with pine trees all around and huge trees. And then the road going to her house, especially at night, it's, I don't know, it's out of this
Yeah.
world. You figure not, I don't know. I've never been to places like that, like when I
It's
went.
called Plantersville, where they do this. It's outside of Houston, Plantersville.
Oh, okay.
To the
north
I
of
haven't
Houston.
been there.
Yes.
I've been around Houston because my sisters live around there.
Mhm.
The other one lives in another little town. I forget the name of the town. And Pasadena, Texas, also brother that lives there. So I've been around those places. But that where you mentioned, I don't remember. I've been here.
I haven't been around the wooded area of Houston. I only know like pretty much the port side area, you know, Galveston and all of that. But I heard that the Woodlands is really pretty. That town on the north of Houston, that's pretty much a part of Houston called the Woodlands.
Mhm.
I heard that it's really beautiful, so I want to visit there.
I even wanted to
It's really
move over
nice.
there. I wanted to move over there, but I never quite decided.
I went
because
to college in Houston, so
Ah,
I went to a concert in the
Right.
Woodlands. It's very nice, but it's very expensive to live there.
really,
I can imagine.
But you don't even have to go too far in Houston. Houston itself has all these little swampy places, and
Mhm.
they're pretty scary at night. Yeah.
it's very scary.
Miss Leslie, I have a question. Are you all promoting your book on Facebook through your page?
We're promoting it different places. It's on my author page. It's all the others, I believe, are sharing it. Were you trying to find one and not able, or did you just want to keep up with it?
I wanted to share it.
Okay, well, I'll post to both my pages, my author page and my regular page. I'll post the link. And
Okay, yes, because I have you on Facebook, so that'll be a lot easier.
Okay.
And I can send that link maybe to my brother-in-law in San Antonio, so maybe that he can also purchase the book.
That would be wonderful. We appreciate it. And, we will be getting the paperbacks soon. I know sometimes family members want the actual paperback because, it's just easier to hang on to for future family members than an e-copy. But I'll post that as soon as the meeting is over on my regular page as well as the author page.
Thank you, and I will probably share it on my Facebook and on my creation book. I have lots of followers there, so.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
thank you,
very
Christina.
much.
Guys, yeah, I'm gonna log off already today. That the story is like, woo, it makes
No,
my
I'm all
skin
creeped
crawl.
out now, and it's all dark outside. And,
I
So
got
turn on
big
lights.
work on your novel, not on anything scary, Anna,
Oh
okay?
yeah, I need to get back into that.
It was fun to see everybody.
It was fun.
Really
And
was.
Wonderful week.
we'll talk.
All right. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Take care and good luck to the teachers. God bless you. I know what it's like out there right now. And so
Thank you, Leslie. Good luck to your daughters and your son too.
thank you. But both sons, both daughters, they were all crazy. And my oldest granddaughter wants to go into teaching. God save her.
None of my children want to do what I do. They
Never.
No, they
When
don't
I
want to
was
be.
growing up, would have thought I'd be telling my grandkids.
they're
They don't wanna
smarter
be-
than I am.
I told my kids, you're not going to go into teaching. End of story.
I have
Nice
one
meeting
that
you,
is a
Joanna,
teacher.
and I'm so glad you joined us, Debbie.
Bye, Debbie. I'll
Bye.
see you soon.
guys.
Welcome.
Everybody.
Welcome to the great.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Look younger than when we knew each other before. I kept thinking, well, gee, but no, that can't be because she looks like she's, way too young. But it's so nice to meet you again and to think of Elaine again. It's just really nice.
Thank you so much.
You
We'll see you all next month.
All right.
See you. Nice meeting you. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Anything else?
Martha. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Well, thank you for coming, everyone. You'll have a good one.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for all your work.
Likewise, Martha. I really loved your story, Martha. It's good to
thank
know
you.
about. It's good to know about the old times in Laredo, about the early times of Laredo. I love this town and its culture. So it's good to see it from that
thank you.
perspective, from earlier on in the past century. I really like this story.
Yes, very good. Anything else we need to talk about or?
Well, I think that's it for me for now. But like always, a pleasure talking to all of you. You all have a good one.
Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going to go post
Bye-bye.
that for Christina, okay, Marta?
All
I'll
right.
post it in about 5 minutes.
I'll tell her. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
My
you.
son asked me also when it was going to be out.
Okay, good, thank you. You're our
All
best
right.
source right now. Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
All righty. Well, I'm going to the chopping board. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay.